When it comes to houseplant styling, a few simple tweaks can go a long way, creating beauty and life in your home. In this video, I'm going to share some easy houseplant styling tips just to elevate your space. If you're a keen outdoor gardener and you have some containers maybe on your patio, you may already be familiar with this tip, and it's grouping your plants in odd numbers. You can see here I've got a group of 3 and we've got some different height levels here as well, which I don't know why it works, but it just does. It's just pleasing to the eye. You can also do groups of 5 depending on if you have different size plants as well. Another advantage to grouping your plants is it helps with humidity. So for plants like this, alocasia, ferns, calathea, those humidity loving plants, it really helps when we're grouping our plants together. Let's grab a couple more plants and just see how amazing it looks in this space. When it comes to choosing pots and plant stands for your house, it's sometimes nice to choose one hero colour. Here we've got some brown, we've got some wooden, we've got some copper, and then we're going to add in this pop of blue just to add a little bit of interest. Perfect. When it comes to styling a plant shelf like this one, it's really nice to incorporate plants with different heights and different textures, some tall, some trailing, and of course we've got some nice sort of fluffy leaves on this fern, and then we've got some more sort of sharp leaves on this snake plant here. I'm going to start by placing on my snake plants. I really like to have tall plants like these Sansevieria on the end of the shelf. I think they really set the plant shelf off. But of course, there is no right or wrong when it comes to this. It's all down to your individuality and your personal taste. So you can play around, and I'm always changing my plants around. I'm never really ever satisfied with one look. I'm now just going to place on a couple of the trailing plants here. We have this golden pothos and this lipstick plant here, which has these lovely red flowers here, little pop of colour. And then I'm going to go in the middle with my Boston fern, which just adds a little bit of texture to the space. Once you've finished adding your plants, it's a really good chance to just take a step back and have a look and just see if it feels right, see if the balance feels right. So for example, I can see this pothos here is looking a little bit too long. So you've got a couple of options. You can either chop here and propagate this section and make yourself a new plant. But in this instance, I'm just going to wrap it around the back of the pot just to make that vine a little bit shorter, and it gives us, different dimensions then with the plants coming down. For finishing touches, it's time to add some accessories. This is where you get to display your individuality. It might be photographs, photo frames. I'm just going to add in some different candle holders that I've got here. Got some nice sort of yellowy and brown accessories, which I think sits really nicely with the colour of the wall and also the pots that I've chosen here. And remember, there is no right or wrong, and you can always change it up if you get bored of the space or you just feel like it's not working for you anymore. Just pop that in there. And again, at this point, you can take another step back, see how things feel, maybe move things around a little bit. Just keep playing around until you're happy with your shelf. Another great way that you can support the health of your plant but also make it look more attractive is with trellising. This works really well on Hoya, like these 2 Hoyas here, but you can also do it for vining plants. I have Philodendron Brazil that's trellised. I have Marble Queen Pothos that's trellised, and it looks really, really attractive. You just get your trellis like this, and you're going to insert it into the soil. And with Hoya, you want to make them trellis anti-clockwise because that is how they would trellis or climb in nature. And then you're going to insert it into your trellis like this. You can do as many of the vines as you wish until you feel like you're happy with the display. It's important with Hoya to know that you do not cut these off. These are not runners. The plant will just be reaching for some light, and then all these little nodes here will activate just with little teeny tiny leaves like this one here. One of the best ways to get the best out of your houseplants is to mimic how they grow in their natural environment. Both these plants are climbers, and they would climb up the tree to reach towards the light. So in this case, I've given them both moss poles. This is a moss pole here that I've made myself at home. This is just some wire mesh, and then I've stuffed it with sphagnum moss and just put it together with some cable ties. This one is a plastic backed moss pole that I've purchased online. And these ones are really great if you're a bit like me and you let your moss poles dry out, because these plastic back ones will keep the moss pole moist for longer. As this Monstera Thai constellation, the roots will grow into this moss here, and as it climbs and the aerial roots continue to grow in here, not only is it getting extra nutrients from the fertilizer that will put through the moss, but as I say, it's also mimicking how this plant would grow in its natural habitat. Means that the plant is going to mature more quickly. That means you're going to get bigger leaves and you're going to get those fenestrations that these Monstera are famous for more quickly. That's those splits in the leaves. A really nice way to make your plants look really cohesive is to actually top dress the soil. Soil is not the most attractive thing to look at, but you can top it with gravel, you can use lava rocks, and so you're just going to get your little measuring cup here, and we're going to pour this onto the top here. You don't want a really thick layer, just a very fine layer will do the job, just so that you've covered the soil. And that just finishes off the look of the plants, and as I say, it makes all your plants look cohesive throughout your collection. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more great houseplant advice from BBC Gardener's World magazine.